Thank you everyone for joining me today. My name is Mark. I am an implementation advisor over at the Apple Leisure Group. And today what we're going to go over is some ways to make the multi-stop booking process a little bit easier and give you some tips and tricks on it. We're also going to go over a couple of the single destination little hacks as well of how to make a little bit extra money using the email sales tool, maybe, and go over some modifications as well. And we're also going to go over the Villas of Distinction product and Blue Rooms Escorted Tours and show you where you can find that information. It's a great resource for you guys to use, make some money on it, and it's a phenomenal product. So why don't we go ahead and get started? So I am in my Vax Vacation Access page for travel impressions. And most of you have probably seen on your vacation package search towards the bottom where it says multiple destinations. This is going to be where you have to go in order to actually do that. So I'm going to go ahead and click on multiple destinations. And from here it takes you to our multi-destination screen. We're going to go ahead and need to do our drop down for the brand that you're going to use, so in this case Travel Impressions. And with any multi-stop reservation, it's the same as a single destination. You can get up to 4 rooms and 8 passengers on here. That does include children as well. One thing to keep in mind though too, when you have a child on the reservation, if you look at my screen, I'm going to put one child in there. And you have to select the age, or if your customers don't really know the age, but they know the date of birth, you can click on that right here and put on the date of birth and it'll price it out at the appropriate age for you. If you have a promotion code, this is going to be where you add your promotion code prior to actually doing your search. So what we're going to do is I have a itinerary that I kind of made up. So we're going to go over that today. We're going to go out to Italy. We're going to go over Rome, Naples, and also Florence. So I'm going to go ahead and use my origin out of the East Coast. I know that we got some decent non-stop flights out of JFK, so I'm just going to use JFK. I also always add the travel protection at the beginning, just because it's a little easier when you present it to your customers, saying, hey, here's your bottom line pricing. This includes the cancel for any reason travel protection. And if they do not want it, it's always easier to go down in price rather than add the price onto it. So that's why I do it. I'm going to go ahead and select some dates further out. So I'm going to go in February. I'm going to click on that calendar, use my arrows, go over to February, and I'm going to do February 4th. All right, and so from here, I'm going to go to Rome, so I'm going to just choose FCO. That is the main airport code for Rome. And a number of nights. I'm going to do 4 nights in Rome. One thing to keep in mind, it will offset your hotel dates because of an overnight flight. You'll also notice that at checkout too, if it doesn't do it prior to that. And below, because we have an air and hotel reservation, it does not allow me to take away our over-the-water flights. You can remove, however, flights in between the destinations within Europe or even the inter-island flights within Hawaii. And I'm going to keep the hotel selected here, but if you do not need a hotel, you just remove that check mark from there. I am not going to use a rental car, so I'm going to deselect the rental car option. Below, it does show where it has additional hotel options. If you click on that little arrow there, you're going to be able to use the filter within here. You can put in a specific hotel name or a brand or a hotel chain, and you can also offset your hotel dates here. So if, let's say, they want to stay in Rome for 4 nights, but they only need a hotel for 2, I can select that over here if I choose to. So now it's the 7th through the 9th for the hotel. I'm going to select the whole amount though. And for destination 2, I'm going to go ahead and put in Florence. So I'm going to type out Florence because I don't know their airport code. So when you start typing things out, it's going to populate anything in here that resembles what you're typing. So as you notice, it shows Florence, South Carolina. I don't want that one, so I want to make sure I choose the Florence, Italy one. And for the number of nights, I'm also going to do 4. You can have a flight from Rome to Florence if you choose to. I'm going to remove that just because I know we have some rail options to get from Rome over to Florence. I'm going to keep my hotel selected. I'm going to remove my rental car. And then from here, I'm going to hit add additional destination. You can add as many destinations as you want on here if you choose to. So I'm going to scroll down to find my destination 3. And now I have to go from Florence over to Naples. So I'm going to start typing out Naples. It's NAP. And I'm going to do 4 nights over in Naples as well. I'm going to deselect my flight because I'm not going to use a flight from Florence over to Naples. I am going to keep my hotel, and I'm going to remove my rental car option. And one thing as well, on the multi-stop booking platform, you actually can return to a different city if you choose to. So you can back that out and put in Baltimore if you choose to, or Washington, D.C., Dulles, whichever airport you choose to have your flights fly back home to. And that's only available on the multi-stop function. But I'm just going to do a round trip out of JFK. You have your additional flight options here, so your airline filters if you choose to. You can sort by specific airlines, cabin preference, or number of stops. One thing I just kind of want to point out is if you use your filters on your main search page, if that specific airline or hotel is not available, it will actually give you an error message because it's not available. So I actually use the filters within my search after this screen, and I'll show you how to do that. It's a very easy way you can narrow things down. So I'm going to go ahead and hit search. And because it's a multi-destination, it does take a little bit longer than a single destination to pull up all the components, just because there's so many more when you're doing a multi-stop rather than just a single destination itinerary. Alright, so it's thinking about it. Alright, so first thing that pulls up are your flights. So the layout of multi-destination kind of goes with the flow a little bit more than a single destination, because you pick your flights, then you can choose your hotels and whatever features you choose to. So just remember, anything that is blue and underlined, you can actually select it, and it'll give you information. So if I want to select, let's say, flight 444, I can hit 444, and it gives me the specific details of that flight. So that flight is nonstop. It's V as in Victor class of service. It gives me my terminals, the flight duration, how many miles, and the type of equipment if it is known. On your left-hand side, you have your filter results. As you see, it shows 22 flights that are available. And we can narrow that down if we choose to. If you know the specific flight number, you just put the number in there. Just make sure to leave out the little airline codes. So for Delta, it's DL. You don't want to put that in there. So if you just put the numbers in there, you'll be able to actually use that filter quite easily. If you scroll a little bit below, you can filter by flight times on your departure time. If you want to leave in the afternoon, evening, or at night, you can filter by arrival times, non-stop or single stop, or specific airlines if you choose to. I am going to use the night flight, so I'm going to use that filter. So it went from 22 down to 7. Now we can filter using non-stop. So now it filtered down to 1. So there's this 9:45 p.m. flight. It's a next day arrival. You'll see that because it's going to be highlighted red. And also keep in mind, if you see that little cross there, that means it's a code share. So this one's operated by Alitalia. This is great for the customer, so I'm going to go ahead and hit select. Oh, I should say for my customers. I'm going to go ahead and hit select. And now it's going to pull up the flights from Naples to JFK. We have 7 flights that are pulling. and I can use these filters on the left-hand side again. So let's say an afternoon flight. I'm going to hit afternoon. And it looks like we have only single stops available. And that's the 12:20 through Paris, gets back at 6:55. I'm going to go ahead and hit select there. Alright, so we're at our itinerary summary screen. All we've done is hit or selected our flights so far. So currently it's just got everything that's least expensive after we selected our flights. So don't pay attention to this price stamp on the right hand side quite yet, because we haven't customized our itinerary. I'm going to go ahead and go to my hotels in Destination 1. Just going to go ahead and click on hotels. And it is going to pull up the hotels that are available. So I'm going to wait for that to load in. It just takes a few moments. There we go. So it's showing 406 hotels are available for these dates in Rome. I can use my filters on the left-hand side if I choose to. So let's say they want the Amalfi Hotel. You can start typing in the name. And once you start typing, it'll pull things up that have AM associated with it. If I just select where it says Amalfi, it filters it to that specific hotel. If you do not want your filter in there anymore, just remove it and find again. You can use your sort by option up here if you choose to as well. And you can sort by preferred hotels, by price point, so low to high or high to low, alphabetically, distance closest to the airport or furthest, location, and also by rating. And you'll be able to use those filters on the left-hand side too. Another nice thing about our Europe destinations is we're continuing to add points of interest. So as you see, we have 375 hotels that are around the Colosseum, or 374 that are around the Pantheon. So you can use those if you choose to, but I'll show you something kind of within one of the other destinations as well, which will kind of break out a map for you just so you can see all the hotels that are in the specific destination. So I'm going to go ahead and use my Amalfi Hotel. So I'm going to go ahead and just sort by alphabetically. So it's always going to pull numbers first. I'm going to scroll down and find my Amalfi instead of using our filter option there. You can click the plus sign to view additional room categories that are available. So I went ahead and hit the plus sign. And I'm going to do a double room with breakfast. So I'm going to hit select. And keep in mind that anything that's underlined, you can click on. So if you want to view the hotel's profile, click on the hotel name, and it'll pull up the specific hotel profile. It'll give you hotel details, accommodation information, anything regarding dining if you click on the dining tab. So it looks like this one, there's no restaurants on site, but there's a buffet breakfast provided every morning. You can go up to the top and hit view on map. And this will pull up the map of where this specific hotel is located. And you can kind of see what's around there as well if you choose to. Now I'm going to go ahead and add some features to that. I'm just going to go ahead and hit select features. And wait for all those to pull up. Alright, so we have 369 total features that are available. We can go ahead and filter that down. You see this little blue bar right here where it says price 0 and then it says $11.75? You can actually drag that over for the hotel. the airfare and the features to use that filter if you choose to. I'm going to specifically go for my rail options over here. So we have 9 rail options, and I'm going to look for the one that will take me from Rome over to Naples. And we have the one-way Italio one-way ticket here. You have the Prima class and also the Smart class. I'm going to go ahead and hit the Prima class. You're going to select your date that you need to depart from. So I'm going to use it on February 9th and update my card. And so just waiting for that to update. Alright, so I am going to collapse my features in Destination 1 and go to Destination 2 over in Florence. I'll click on my hotels. And wait for all those to load in. So we have 173 hotels in Florence. I am going to, let's say, use my point of interest down here. I'm going to select the gardens. So it drops it down from 173 down to 163. Now, I just kind of want to show you how the interactive map works. Right below where you see the total amounts of hotels, if you click on View Hotels on Map, it will pull up a map of all the hotels that are available. So if you have specific hotels in a specific neighborhood, you'll be able to view this. And this does take a little bit, so I do apologize. It took a little bit yesterday, so. Alright, so it's loading up there. And one thing I just kind of want to point out is you'll see all the different colors. That doesn't mean anything. It's just, there's only so many letters of the alphabet. So once A through Z in red was used, it just went to a different color. You can actually select the specific pinpoint, I should say. If you choose to, it'll tell you what hotel it is. So this one I selected was a B&B. If you click on the name of that, it'll take you to the profile of that specific property. And then from here, you can select it if you choose to. So you can scroll down and just find whatever. So if I'm looking for Grand Hotel Minerva, click on that. It'll tell you where it is within the cluster of endpoints. So I'm just going to go ahead and close that. And I'm going to, let's see if I can find a hotel. I don't want to pronounce it because I'm going to butcher it. There it is. I'm just going to filter to that property. Click that drop down, see what room categories are available. It's offered to the customers. And, okay, look, we got a Executive Superior room category, offers free daily breakfast. I'm going to go ahead and offer that to my customers. I'm going to hit select. Alright, now I'm going to add my features in Destination 2, which is Florence. So the way I look at multi-stop destination bookings is, how do I get from point A to point B? Because if you look at the overall multi-stop booking process as a whole, we have 3 destinations. We have airfare, hotels, and features. That's a lot of information to process. Sometimes it can get overwhelming. So I just look at it from point to point. Okay, so I'm in Destination 1 in Rome. How am I going to get to Destination B, which is Florence? What do I need? Do I need a hotel? Yes, so I keep that check marked. Do I need a rental car? Maybe so. If not, you remove it. Do I need flights? And so forth. It just makes things a little bit easier if you look at it from destination to destination rather than it as one giant booking. Alright, so we have 118 features in this destination. I'm going to look at ground transportation. So here's all the ground transportation that we offer. I'm specifically just looking for rail. So I'm going to make things easier on me. Deselect my ground transportation filter and just select rail. So you notice there's a bunch of different rail options here. So you have, for example, Florence over to Venice. They may take a day trip over to Venice. You can do that here. I'm actually looking for Florence to Naples, so I'm going to look for that. All right, great. I have that right here. I'm going to use my drop down to see what options we have. We have a Prima class or a Smart class. I'm going to stick with the Prima class. Now you select your date that you need. So I'm going to go back up, double check the date that they're checking out. All right, so they're leaving on the 13th of February. So I'm going to use the 13th of February and add to my cart. Right, so I'm going to collapse that. Now I'm going to go to Destination 3 over in Naples. I'm going to click on Hotels. And one thing not many people know is Travel Impressions offers B&B options. So you can search for B&B options if you choose to. So I'm going to use my filter once everything populates. And you'll be able to know when things populate because you'll see the number of hotels up here, and you'll also see the information within the parentheses of the star ratings and so forth like that. Alright, so it's updating. Just waiting for it so I can get my cursor in there. I'm going to type in B and B. So we have a couple B&B options, as you can notice over here. So let's say my specific customers are looking at the Viva Napoli. I'm going to use that filter and see what room options by clicking that plus sign. And I'm going to do the standard double room queen bed. And just click on that. Alright, so we have our itinerary set. Now, what we always want to do is go to checkout before we quote our customers. That's in case, because a lot of the components are live, such as airfare, it could be a stale class of service in there, which it might update at the checkout page. So always make sure you quote at the checkout page. You will see a note up here in red that says live component has new price if that happens. So now we're at our price stamp on the right-hand side. It'll tell you your days prior to departure, your base package price. So your base package price is air and hotel. It'll give you your per person adult base price and any options. It'll split out your travel protection here and give you your total package price below and per person price. One thing that you've probably noticed, it says or pay monthly from. If you click on that, we use a company called Uplift. Sometimes Uplift is a little bit lower with interest rate than using a standard credit card. So your clients can apply for Uplift and pay for their package price. It'll pay it in full if approved. One thing to keep in mind is any refunds will go back to Uplift, and then Uplift will refund the customer or take it off their balance. If they have their reservation and they, let's say, add additional features on there, because they were only approved for a set amount, they would pay that out of pocket for that difference. So if you see that pay monthly option, you can click on that. It'll give you the Uplift information here. You can also view included taxes and fees by clicking on that if you choose to. The terms and conditions. Also additional baggage charges. So if we go ahead and select that, it'll take you to another page. Just click right over here where it says additional baggage charges. And it'll take you outside of that onto a page like this. And you just find your specific carrier that you're looking for. It'll take you to that airline's policy. You can email your itinerary from here if you choose to. And just put the recipient in there. And where it says booking administration, this is where, if you choose to, you can add on an agency fee if you choose to. So let's say for me, I'm going to charge $150. I'm going to type in 150, hit set commission. All right, so it'll tell you what your original totals were and what your adjusted totals are. So originally we were at $31.23.53. You notice it went up exactly $150 to $32.73.53. But you notice the commission didn't go up exactly $150. That's because any agency fee, there is a 10% processing fee we take. So if it's $150, we take $15. If it's $500, we'll take $50, and so forth. All right, so once you hit close, it'll update your pricing stamp and everything from here. And now what we're going to do is just go ahead and pretend we're booking this reservation. So you, on your checkout page, can actually change your room categories if you choose to. Below are your hotel advisories. It'll tell you if there's any, let's say, resort fees or parking fees. It will tell you the hotel cancel policy below here. So we're just going to keep going down. And it will always ask you to add travel protection here if you haven't selected it, or decline it. I chose prior, so mine is selected here. Now I'm going to go ahead and just put in names here. All right, so let's see here. Pick up some dates of birth. And here, if you click on enter frequent flyer or membership information, you can add the frequent flyers. One thing I just kind of want to point out is if your clients have frequent flyer information, you have to add it at time of booking. Because we use a GDS system. Many people know what a GDS system is. It's an airline booking system that a lot of tour operators use to book airline tickets. So the reason why it has to be entered at time of booking is because that information will not go over through that GDS system to the airline once it's booked. So just make sure to ask if they have the frequent flyer information prior to making your reservation. If you forget about it or they don't have it at the moment, it's not a big deal. You can always just go onto the airline's website, type in the airline confirmation number, and put it in there. You can enter your secure flight information if you choose to. And let's go add another passenger here. Let's pick a random date of birth. Gender. All right. I'm going to select that. I don't know why that's pulling up, because typically that is for land-only reservations. So land-only reservations, if you have transfers, it always pulls up that way. So I am not specifically sure why that's pulling up here, because we have airfare. So that I do apologize for. I do not know how to get rid of that. Below are special service requests. Also, I would recommend doing that at time of booking, because a lot of hotels are on a direct booking link to pull last-minute availability. Once it's booked, it won't go over as well. So I always recommend at time of booking as well. So if you click on that arrow next to hotel requests, you can put in VIP customers if you choose to. You have bedding request options in one of the destinations if you choose to. So double beds, you could do non-smoking, any additional remarks. If there's special occasions, you could do it there. Flight requests, if you click on the flight requests. If your customers need assistance, possibly maybe from gate to gate, you can choose that here and just type in, let's say, me needs help gate to gate. And you can select that there if you choose to. All right. And if you see a little red star next to any of the features, that means you have to enter information prior. So this Prima Class one-way ticket, I need to select the time that I want to go. So let's say I want to go 1 p.m. just put that in there. Let's say for Florence over to Naples, I want to do Birmingham. You also see where it says internal comments. You can add internal comments here. Those are your notes. So you're going to be able to pull up your reservation, and in your comment section, you'll be able to see any notes that you have within the reservation that pertain to your customers. If you choose to select seat assignments, you can here. My recommendation, always confirm your reservation prior to doing seat assignments, then going to the airline's website and selecting them there. That way, you don't have so many things in between, so it would be going from VAX over to that GDS system, over to the airline's booking engine, so the airline's system. Then from there, it's got to see if it's available and confirms it, back to the GDS, back to VAX. So there's a lot of area in there where something may happen. So I always recommend book the reservation, go to the airline's website for seat assignments. If you forgot to add a promotion code at the initial search page, you can enter it here if you choose to. And one thing that actually gets a lot of people confused is the payment information. So we have 4 areas: total amounts of payments, balance due, deposit due, and full payment due date. The total amounts of payments and balance due are one area specifically, and then deposit due and full payments are kind of another section. So on here, it shows deposit due is August 30th of $398, and then it shows full payment due the 21st of December, which is 45 days prior to departure, and it tells you your total reservation amount. So that will not change unless you make changes down the road after you make a reservation. So it'll always show deposit due on your original deposit due date of this amount. Don't pay attention to that after you made payment. If you see up here that $398 has been applied, you've satisfied that deposit. And then from here, your balance due will be your total amount of your reservation, less any payments that you have applied. So a lot of people get confused where they say, oh, I still see where it shows deposits due. As long as up here in the total amounts of payments that matches your deposit here, it's satisfied, you're good to go. So here's the payment information. I'm going to kind of skip over that. Main thing is you can get up to 10 credit cards there if you choose to. My recommendation is just do one at a time. Just because if you put in, let's say, 6, and one of those cards doesn't go through, none of those cards have gone through. And so there may be a pending charge there on your customer's debit card or credit card. So I recommend do one payment at a time. That way you know which card has gone through, which card has not. All right, scrolling down from here, you can choose to schedule an email reminder to be sent to the customers on a specific date. So my full payment is due on the 21st of December. Let's say I want to send it out to them on the 14th of December. You can use your calendar here, scroll over to December, click on the 14th, and put in your email address you want to send that reminder to. If you do not want to do that and you want to do it manually, go ahead. Hit that radio button. Lower your terms and conditions. Make sure you go through those with the customers. And in order to process any changes or complete any reservation, you have to require that you've read the terms and conditions. Then we would hit complete booking. And then what will happen is it'll refresh and give you a reservation number. So multi-stop, there's a lot of components that are involved with it. But if you just look at it from piece to piece, it's a little easier. And one thing is, I noticed, I made a mistake on here, where I think I have one destination. I went Rome to Naples, or Florence to Naples, right away. That was a mistake. I can go back in there and change that over. Alright, so anyone have any questions on the multi-stop? Go ahead and enter that in the chat. And then we can address it before we go on to our next thing. Alright, so it doesn't look like we have any questions. If any pops up, I'll answer them while I'm going over our next thing. So next thing I want to do is just kind of go over a basic single stop reservation. I'm going to do land only because I'm going to make that reservation and show you some modifications that you're going to be able to do in VAX as well that you may not have known. All right, so it looks like someone just put in a comment. The uplift, the pay monthly. They've had customers that made the payments towards the final amount at their own pace until the final is due. That's perfectly okay as well. It doesn't matter when you pay it. You can pay weekly if you choose to. So once you have that deposit made, you have up until 45 payments to make that remaining balance. So if they chose weekly at $500 or $100, that's perfectly okay as well. All right, so I'm going to go back out of here and go to travel impressions again. I am doing that instead of just going over to search because I want to show you kind of an option where you can compare some itineraries or possibly dates. All right, so we are back at our travel impressions main page. I'm going to do land only. And I'm going to go to a pretty popular destination that everyone's probably heard of King. I'm going to do 1 room, 2 adults. I'm going to choose dates in November. So let's say November 6th for 5 nights. Add my travel protection, I'm going to hit search. And let's wait for this to pull up. Alright, so again, like the multi-stop destinations, we have our filters that we can use over here. I'm just going to go in there just because I'm not really going over how to select properties and so forth. I'm just kind of going over some kind of tips and tricks. I'm just going to go ahead and select Secrets Maroma Beach and that Junior Suite Tropical View King. Alright, so we are at our itinerary summary page. It looks like we have our room, our travel protection, and transfers with complimentary upgrades to nonstop service. Alright, so now let's say you're in here and your customers say, what if we go 2 weeks later? Okay, so we can't change it from here. We'll have to go back to search. And let's say we do 2 weeks later, so that'd be on 14, so on the 20th. And I'm going to re-hit my search. And I'm going to use Secrets Maroma again, just so we can compare the different dates for our customer. So, alright, Secrets Maroma is right here. We have that Junior Suite Tropical View King. I'm going to hit select. We're at our itinerary summary. And over under your recent searches on your right-hand side, you see this little compare button. I want to compare these 2 dates. Compare here. Compare here. Now at the bottom, it'll say compare 2 of 3. It'll pull it up side by side, the different dates, the components, and the pricing. So you can have that right in front of you instead of going back and forth between each itinerary. At the top right, you have an option to view administrative information. That's your commission. If you choose to, you can hit select from here and choose whatever itinerary you choose to. Something they came out with in the past couple months. Alright, so next thing I want to go over is, many of you probably know how to use the sales email tool. I'm going to go over it again in case somebody isn't familiar with it. So a sales email tool, it allows you to get up to 6 hotels or room categories, 3 rental car options, and 6 features, all in one email to your customers. So you do not have to send multiple emails or copy and paste them to put them into one. And to do that, you're going to go ahead over here, under where it says email print itinerary, it says create sales email. Go ahead and we're going to hit it, and that'll show preview. We're not done yet, because we have to add what we want to the sales email. So I'm going to go ahead and look at several hotel options. And so let's stick with Secrets Maroma. I'm going to do my drop down, so hit that plus sign for other room categories to pull. So the customers were interested in this Tropical View King. Right below that select button, it says add to sales email. I'm going to include it. Now let's say they want to, looks like that's all the one we have here outside of the bedding. So I'm not going to choose another option for this hotel. Alright, so now let's go possibly to, alright, I'm just going to use Dreams Riviera. Do that drop down over here. And one thing to always keep in mind, it does show you if it's a non-refundable hotel or not. And the cancel for any reason coverages, unfortunately, do not cover those. So just keep that in mind and be mindful of those room categories. So I'm going to go ahead and add this Preferred Club Ocean View King to this email. So below the select button, add to sales email. Let me go ahead and collapse that. And I'm going to add now Sapphire and that Tropical View King as well. Alright, so we chose 3 hotels, 3 different room categories. Alright, I'm going to collapse my hotels. Now I have to add whatever features I want on here. So I'm going to go to features. Right. I cancel for any reason. I'm going to add that to my sales email. Alright. We need to add the transfers. So I'm going to go ahead and add that on there to that sales email. So let me go ahead and find that. Alright, so here's our transfers to and from complimentary upgrade to nonstop. Add that. I'm going to add a private transportation option on there as well. Okay, perfect. If you have other features as well, you're going to have to do the same thing. Add it to your sales email. Alright, so now from here, what I'm going to do is hit preview sales email. You can add up to 10 recipients on here. I always recommend sending a copy to yourself as well. Below here, you can put information whatever you choose to. So, thanks for taking the time out of your day to spend with me. Here's some options that we went over, whatever it may be. Alright, so below is the passenger information. It gives you the number of adults, your check-in dates, check-out dates, and your hotels you selected. It'll go in order from least expensive to most. You can click on the name of the hotel to view the profile, if you choose to. Below are your features. So features are not included on this pricing above. So that's just your base package. So if it's hotel, it's just the hotel cost. Or if it's air and hotel, it's air and hotel. Then features are always added on top. So just keep in mind from there. But they are able to view the profile of the features and the hotel if they choose to. So the nice thing is as well, you can send this over to the customers and not include pricing if they choose to, or if you choose to, I should say. Because a lot of times what will happen is if you give customers a price, they might go ahead and price shop against a competitor. You never know. So this way, up here, if you hit that and take away that check mark, it will refresh and not have any prices here. So they're going to look at the overall properties and the experience rather than the price point. So this is a great way for your customers to get multiple options on one email rather than sending multiples. What I'm going to do from here is book a reservation. I'm just going to go ahead, go to my checkout page. And I'm going to add in some names. So let me just put it here. And So land only with transfers. We don't have flight information yet. So I'm going to hit I do not have flight information now. I'll show you how to add that after it's booked. Below are our special service requests if we choose to. So remember me mentioning that always best to do it at time of booking. The one nice thing is if it's an AMR property, you have that AMR media site, and you can actually go to the hotel and view all the contacts at that hotel if you need to after the booking has been made, and send them over a special service request via an email. Because otherwise what would happen is you'll reach out to the customer care department via phone or whatever email box that you possibly use if you email. What they're going to do, they're going to go to that AMR media site, find the contact, email them over. This way you don't have to wait on hold or possibly wait for a response back to that email, and you can just get it done ahead of time. Alright, so I'm going to collapse that. We'll go down and complete my reservation. And so once this completes, I'm going to go over some modifications that you might not be aware that you can actually do. Obviously, you can change your hotel, add or remove features. I want to go over some things such as changing a passenger's name or doing a name correction, adding a night or removing a night, dropping a passenger. And because this is land only, you're able to do that. You can also do this as well with our charter flights or our dedicated vacation flights, because most of the time it's not going to be under penalty. And you can do this as long as the components are available. If it's not available, you unfortunately will have to call in and get it done that way, because we might have to do things a little bit different depending on the type of hotel it is. Scheduled airfare tickets once it's deposit. So any changes to that will incur any penalties and so forth. So scheduled airfare, make sure you call in for that. So we have our reservation. And from here, I'm going to go ahead to my modifications tab in my itinerary tools. And let's say I want to remove the second passenger, or I want to change names for the second passenger on here. I'm going to go down to change PAX info. Alright, so currently I can't do anything. My cursor's not going to be in there. I can't remove anything. You have to actually hit where it says change traveler information. Highlight that. So let's say I want to take my nephew. He's got the same last name. I'm going to go ahead and hit change. Alright, so now it's myself and my nephew. Alright, so if you have your flight information, plug it in. Currently I do not. I'm going to hit that little box there. I do not have flight information. Go down to the bottom. Complete my itinerary change. So now we changed Christine over to Jacob. Now let's say we're looking to add a night or shorten a night. We can do that as well as long as the component is available. We'll go down to my modifications. Change res date. So let's say in this case they want to shorten it a day and go 4 nights. Click on that calendar, click on my new checkout date, go down where it says search, hit search. Alright, so let's wait for that to populate. Alright, so here's our new dates, currently, the 20th to the 24th. It shows the Junior Suite Tropical View King. One thing I always do is look to see what I originally had. This way we know we're still in the same room category, same features and everything. Because, I'm saying that because of the fact, if you do a change res date or a drop passenger or change passenger info, and that hotel is not available, it'll change the hotels or room categories on you. So you gotta make sure that it's available, and also just to double check. And you can do that right from this screen. So right above where it says modification in progress, you click on original itinerary. And at the top, here's your original package price. Here's your hotels and features. So we were at the Tropical View King at Secrets Maroma. We had travel protection and transfers. All right, so if I close that, all right, so we got the same room category at Secrets Maroma. We have transfers, but no travel protection. So I can go ahead and add that back on there for us. Go under features. And it's the first one that populates, add to cart. And now I'm going to check out and complete my changes. Right, don't have flight information. Go down to the bottom. Gotta make sure I read and explain the terms and conditions, complete my itinerary change. Alright, just waiting for that to finalize. Alright, there we go. We changed our dates. And before I forget, we're going to go ahead and add our flight information to the reservation. So this way, the DMC or Destination Management Company, which would be Anstar, knows the customer's flight information. And that's just right under your Comments and Preferences tab. Click on that arrow next to flight information. You're going to put your carrier code. So let's say it's flight number 1002 on Southwest. So you go put the carrier code. Then the flight number, 1002. The date that they're arriving and your time. So let's say they're arriving at 10:15 a.m. Hit submit. Right, you'll see it says it has been updated. You can view that in your history as well. So if you don't remember if you added it or not, if you hit history, it'll show you. So you can see under here it says feature comment, special service request. And it says land only flight information. Gives you the carrier code to Southwest, the flight number, and then the time. Next thing we're going to do is drop a passenger. And to do that, we're going to go to Modifications, drop PAX age change. And just to keep in mind, anytime you drop a passenger or you change the age of the passenger, it's going to re-pull the availability. So I'm going to drop Jacob off, click on Remove Passenger, hit Change.
Yes, I know. So, is that what you saw?
Right? So now we've added our flight information. Notice that pops up still. Because there's no flights on here, that's always going to be that way. But you do not have to add your flight number and information every single time. Because every time that you do, it resends it over to the DMC. So we have everything the same. Tropical View King, Secrets Maroma. We have our transfers and travel protection. I'm going to complete the change. So our passenger has been dropped. Alright, somebody has hold. Alright, so let me go ahead and do this. Okay, sorry about that. Alright, so I'm going to go back up to my Travel Impressions main page. You can hit up here where it says Back Vacation Access and then go to your suppliers. or you can just go to suppliers, get travel impressions. All right. And it looks like Katie has a question regarding excursions. If you can just view the excursions separately. Unfortunately, right now, no. We do have something down the road that you are going to be able to select a destination and see what's available in the destination. It will just highlight the actual, it'll highlight what properties are sold in that destination and the main tours. It'll probably not offer all of them. All right, so next thing I want to go over is the Villas of Distinction and the escorted tours. So they have their own separate area within the TI main page. I'm going to go under the multi-day escorted tours first. And we use two separate companies. We use CETA Tours and also Blue Roads. So the nice thing is with the escorted tours is you get your normal commission with travel impressions. You have specialized agents that you get routed over to, and the escorted tours are often smaller, so roughly 18 people or less. And between the two companies, there's actually a lot of capability when they assist the customers, and they can possibly even add on maybe an FIT booking at the end of those tours. So I clicked on the escorted tours on my Travel Impressions main page. So you notice there's a bunch of different things here. So I'm just going to go ahead and just show you. If you select a specific tour, it'll give you the actual specific breakdown of your itinerary. So just keep in mind that you can offer escorted tours and you get your normal commission. I recommend going in here, playing around with it, seeing what's there, and just look at the sample itineraries. We're not going to go too much into it. Alright, so I'm going to go back out to our Travel Impressions main page. And now we're going to go under the Villas experience. So the Villas of Distinction, the commission will be capped at 10%. And the cancel for any reason travel protection will not be able to be added to the reservation. It would have to go through a third party. You can call in or send an email for a quote. Sending the online inquiry actually will expedite everything. It's a little quicker rather than calling in. And so I'm just going to go over how this looks for you. So if you go up here under destinations, it'll tell you the destinations that we offer. So let's say your customers are interested in Croatia. I'm going to click on Croatia. And from here, you can select your arrival and departure dates and your guests. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to scroll over to next February 6th. And let's do 9 nights. Select 6 guests. I'm going to hit search. Right? So there's 28 villas available. You can select on the specific villa, the picture, and it'll pull up the actual profile of that villa. So you can scroll through and look at the actual photos. And I have been looking actually at a lot of these, trying to get my friends to go there, rather than our normal vacation to the neck of the woods up in northern Wisconsin. Because the price point's actually pretty decent for a lot of these. So below is the overview. And if you notice on the right-hand side, there's your online inquiry. There's a phone number for you to call. You can actually look at the rates as well by going over rates over here. And this one specifically says contact us. A lot of them will give you a breakdown of times of year, what the amount of nature. And just remember, the nice thing is with the Villa experience, yeah, you might get capped at 10%, but it still goes towards your production for travel impressions. So that was one of the questions. Why should you book through Villa's Distinction rather than with us? So this counts towards your overall production to maybe get to that next level, if you're close to that or whatever it may be. So I can't really tell you, but the best thing is, if you book it with us, you're going to be able to get that towards your production. My recommendations is with this as well. Go in there, play around with it. It's a very easy page to actually follow along with it. So that is what I have for you today. But before we go, I want to show you a page in VAX Vacation Access. It's an education page. If you go under suppliers and under your vacation packages, Apple Leisure Group has its actual own page. If you click on Apple Leisure Group, here's everything in here. You have our main 6 brands. You can click on Travel Impressions, view the highlights of there. Below, under the Apple Leisure Group area, there's education. You can click on a calendar of live learning events and join any upcoming webinars. The ones that are multicolored means it's on demand, and if you click on that, you can view that recording. So let me back out of there. Alright, let's see. Alright, so back out there. If you click on education again, self-help library. If you forget how to do something within VAX, here's a detailed step-by-step video or a document that you can view. So let's say you forget how to add an agency fee or set your own commission. If you go down here under where it says building an itinerary, alright, so I can see set your own commission. Click on that. Gives me a short 1 to 2 minute video or a document. And you can view that. So great resources for you to use, whether it's building a sales email in VAX, managing your reservations, the uplift options, that's all in here for you. So just remember that's there for you. So I do not have anything else today. So if anybody has questions, go ahead and enter that in the chat. Alright, so, but from here, basically what I'm going to do is I will send the recording over to the owner, and she'll send it out to you guys so you have a copy of this as well. You do have the option as well in here under on-demand orientation to look at all these as well. So building a multi-destination itinerary, it's just a general little 10 to 12 minute video. This one is 8 minutes. So that's there for you as well. But I will send you out the link for this, so you guys all have this and you can view it.
Okay.
Alright, so it doesn't look like we have any questions, so I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.